Hello everyone, Gen X Man back with another video. It is Revenge of the Sixth. Obviously, there's a debate online whether it should be Revenge of the Fifth, Revenge of the Sixth. I go with the Sixth because if you drop one letter out of it, it is Sith. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Whatever. It's a silly debate. Just doing both. Who cares? But I was thinking, I was like, okay, it's also Tabletop Tuesday, so what am I going to do in celebration of tabletop gaming and Revenge of the Six? Well, obviously, we're on the Star Wars train. Let's keep the train rolling. Star Wars West End Games. Looked on the shelf. What do we have here? The second edition revised Imperial Sourcebook. This is a fascinating. We're going to take a real quick little dive into this beauty. This is, of course, the revised second edition by West End Games. It was originally written by Greg Gordon. It was revised for second edition by Peter Schweghofer. Hope I pronounced that right. The book is broken down into 12 chapters, and a prologue sets the book up as a report from an Alliance general to Mon Mothma, which is kind of interesting because Mon Mothma was not a military leader. She was, I don't know, figurehead, cheerleader, whatever you want to call it. Just kidding. Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is a primer on imperial power. It begins with a brief history of the empire. Obviously brief, as the empire was literally just founded at the time of writing. It also goes into great depth about the structure of the empire and its adherents and servants and other tools. Stats on the Imperial Royal Guard, the guys in the red armor with the pikes, and also Palpatine himself are included if your band of heroes plan on taking on the man himself. To which I say, may the force be with you. Chapter 2 talks about one of the imperial cults, Comp Nor, which is an anagram for Commission on the Preservation of the New Order. This is a deep dive. This chapter is a deep dive into the nutcase agencies that keep the imperial wheels churning. And it also has a section on the ISB, the Imperial Security Bureau, something that's taken on great prominence for their role in the Andor series and was just deliciously handled. And as a big geek for the details myself, seeing the ISB show up in a show, I was just like, it's canon now. It's no longer in Legends. The ISB's out there. Sweet. It was so well handled, too. I love it. But Chapter 3 details Imperial intelligence, the backstabbing, double crossing, no good, dastardly arm of the Empire operating mainly from the shadows. Spies, saboteurs, assassins, you name it, you'll find it here in Imperial intelligence. There's many inserts throughout the book. There's one right here that details Imperial rank insignias, which I geek out about. It's just a nice little touch because you can tell your players and they'll be like, well, what insignia is it? And you can tell them and see if they know it or remember. The flip side of the insert shows the specs on a what's called a zero G stormtrooper. But honestly, I took one look at the diagram and immediately thought, it's a robot suit. This is a robot suit. No, I want one. Chapter 4 is all about the military and probably the section you're going to use the most. It has stats on pilots and gunners and troopers, storm or otherwise, veteran or newbie. They're all detailed in here, and it is invaluable for any group that's going to have regular run ins with Imperial forces. This will provide a DM with plenty of stats to keep things from going stale, which is very important. I mean, you want to throw those boomerangs, you want to throw those tripwires to your players to keep them guessing. But chapter 5 is all about ships used by the Empire. It's a delicious chapter with stats detailing everything from assault shuttle to super star destroyers. This section alone makes the book worth buying. It's also got a sweet detailed drawing of the scale of various craft measured against one another. It's a sweet chapter. It's really neat. Chapter 6 is a brief 3-page section detailing some nifty tech that might come into play, like cloaking fields and magnetic bombards and just interesting stuff. Chapter 7 covers land vehicles like the Juggernaut heavy assault vehicle. It does not detail ATSTs or AT-ATs. You'll find those stats, I believe, in the source book if my memory serves, or maybe the main book. But those stats should not be hard to find, so they're not really needed in this chapter. It would just be bloat. Chapter 8 is another deep dive into Imperial structure covering the exact compositions for the military forces, both Army and Navy. And for someone like me that likes to detail exactly how many imps are in a given sector, this is dream level information. I can track precise troop movements and compositions, keep track of attrition numbers, etc., etc. Very important in, guerrilla warfare, or what do they call it these days? Asymmetrical warfare, that kind of thing. It's such a number cruncher's paradise, and it's got the structures like yeah, it's really neat. No stats, but just it's very good structural information. Chapter 9 covers artillery stats, very important for big battles or sieges. Now, these artillery pieces think big guns, turbo lasers and such. Chapter 10 is all about the infantry support weapons. And these aren't as big a guns, but they're still very important because you want to support your infantry when you're moving forward, especially against guerrilla groups. Chapter 11 talks about elite Imperial units, and I found it mainly to be a springboard for ideas rather than a deep dive into scary imp forces. So, yeah, individual mileage may vary. And finally, Chapter 12 dives into recruitment, training, and indoctrination. This will be helpful if you're planning on doing some sort of infiltrating the Imperial forces kind of campaign. Like, what are your guys going through as they're getting recruited and so on and so forth. Or if you want to be the Imperial forces, you want to be like that. I'm not going to judge people if they want to play the bad guys. But this will detail what your folks go through and how do they get involved, how they get sucked into the machine. Uh, let's see here. In conclusion, the book has a plethora of campaign enhancing information for anyone playing West End Games D6 systems. Is it necessary? Of course not. Does it add anything of value based on its rather steep price tag? Definitely. This book is almost a must have for anyone conducting Rebellionary gameplay, and it is only Rebellion era. Keep that in mind. But you could probably extrapolate information from it for, post Rebellion era and so on and so forth. But obviously, you can find it for free online, Sailing the High Seas. But if, like me, you want that physical copy, I did a quick search as of the time of this recording. I found them on both Amazon and eBay. They're all available, and they range from 50 plus to 75 plus. So this one's going to be a little steep for an out of print system only us old farts know about, but still worth it. But I mean, in a disgusting little story here at the tail end, this was part of the pile of Star Wars books and the original VHS tapes that a friend of mine in college uh, bequeathed to me because he was going into politics and he just wanted to delete every aspect of his personality and originality and individuality and devote himself entirely to politics. I don't know, but that was the last I saw of him. He kind of disappeared after that, so wish him well. But yeah, he left me with a stack of the RPGs because I was using them all the time. I was running the campaigns and keeping everybody entertained while he was busy doing his thing. So he was just like, "Here, you have this stuff all the time. You're using it all the time. Just take it." And I was like, "Thank you." And now here we are, oh gosh, 30 plus years, something like that. And these individual books are starting to skyrocket off the charts in value, which is interesting. Not too long ago, when the internet was first a thing, I found like 2E stuff and this West End game stuff and a bunch of other things online for, they're selling for a buck 50, and I'm grabbing everything I can afford at the time because I was really strapped for money back then, so I grabbed everything I could and I'm glad I did because now it just keeps creeping up for some reason. But anyway, that's my little story on how I got my copy. You feel free to share in the comments how you got your copy. I love hearing from you all. And thank you again for everybody checking out the videos and giving likes and subscribes and everything. This is awesome. I love seeing everybody return for the videos. This is so cool. So I'm going to keep making videos as long as somebody keeps watching them. So thank you all. I appreciate you. And happy Revenge of the Six. Go watch some Star Wars. Go have some fun. And I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one.